Hi everybody, this is the second part of the podcast with Shamane. We're going to keep on exploring the question around diversity, banking, forums, and we're going to hear more and more from Shamane's background and her view on the Asia Pacific market, specifically Australia. I hope you enjoy this second part.
Yeah. So I was saying that even as a government CISO, they are very conscious that they have to use different countries like intelligence or products from different countries so that they can get a wider picture of what's really going on. But at the same time, they're just aware that other countries will also be taking their information. So I mean, it's like
It's a
it's
trade-off.
a
I think it's
tough
a
one.
risk-based exercise. And actually, on the term of sharing, I know you started a forum some time ago,
Yeah.
in your area. So do you want to talk about how that meetup, the cyber risk meetup, came about?
Ah, right, yes. Oh, that's a a good circle back to that. That's smart. Yeah, so I started initially when I was actually quite new to the industry, or rather I was really keen to just learn as much as I
Mm,
can from different people. And I realized that there are a lot of speakers out there but at the sea level, maybe I feel they're not very comfortable with sharing like
mm.
real practical experiences because of what you mentioned earlier, right? Because they're conscious they're representing their company and their
And
organization.
the brand.
Exactly. So they don't feel very comfortable to be able to share that personal opinion. And they have to go through a lot of hoops in order to get
Yeah,
approvals.
I have my PR team screening every single thing that I say and review and approve. So I feel
Oh,
that pain.
wow. You- Okay, wow, but you managed to do a lot of things even with
Yes.
your PhD, so that's quite good. Yeah. So what I would find is that it's quite difficult for them to be able to speak freely in a public setting. So
Hmm.
that's how I got the idea that hey, the cyber risk meetup is not an official platform. It's not like and we're not meant to
It's
compete with
not
the other.
public.
Yeah, so we're not competing with ISACA or in Australia we have the ASA or ISE Square. Rather, we are there
Hmm.
to really complement what they're doing. So I'm trying to find that gap where I can still build a community and allow the community to hear directly from the C level, but it's not an official platform.
That's
So
very
that
that's
was
that's very interesting approach.
yeah, so actually it turned it just started off as an idea and I didn't expect it to take off so well. Like the very first session we had in Sydney, we had like it was full house. I think we had about 100 people turned up.
Wow.
And then from then on it was history because we only run it once every 3 months.
Hmm.
Um, in Sydney now, like more than 250 people will try to register and I just don't have space. So so yeah, it will be like yeah. So what happens is that we will have like a panel session, and
Hmm.
we had one session where it's like where would the CISO report into, and then we have a CTO, a CRO, a CIO, and a CISO, like debating over this
Hmm.
topic. So that was quite interesting. And then when GDPR came out and stuff like that, we
Of
had like
course.
yeah, I had like a law partner debating with another one on like the privacy laws, and so it was quite an interesting format. Like I try to follow like TED Talk styles,
Hmm.
and usually have like not just panel segments, but short TED Talks, like 15 to 20 minutes. And then the speakers are encouraged to deliver it in a really engaging way, and the good thing is that they were able to share real things, like
Hmm.
about maybe certain breaches that happen in their organization, even because it's a shut-down house rule environment. So that gave them the assurance as well, and I guess that's where people benefits most because you get to hear the real things rather than just the fluffy sort of
Fluffy talk.
presentation.
Yeah, no, it's real thing,
Yeah.
and I think I see that a lot in UK, that there are a lot of conference coming up industry, but where I see the real value of myself and my peers is smaller events, more targeted. So
Mhm.
actually, on the topic, I'm spinning up a similar forum, but just for financial industry, so that among a number of banks we can actually talk and share information, and
Yeah.
that's coming probably towards the end of the year or beginning of next year. And I'm
Oh,
probably
that
gonna
will be a
follow the
good
same
one.
format, your same format. So
Okay, yeah.
happy to share idea and what works and what doesn't work.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, looking
We
forward to hearing more about yours too.
we
Yeah,
can partner
so
it up.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, who knows, right? Because like we started out in Sydney and then now it's in like Melbourne, in Perth, in Brisbane, and it's in Singapore. And who knows, you might be able to run one for us in the UK. Yeah. So yeah, you never know.
Actually, one question that I can reconnect to another question that I have is, how strong is the market in Australia from Yanis, and how do you address the cybersecurity gap? And
Mm,
actually, if I can layer on a third question, how much is the
yeah.
diversity on in Australia? Because that's
That's
a
a good
big,
question.
big, big challenging topic here.
Mm. Okay, so back to the first question, how strong is the security market? I'm not really sure if in comparison with the UK, what I can compare is maybe Australia with other parts of Asia.
Hmm.
So Australia is quite fairly advanced, I would say, comparing to other parts. I don't really want to name the countries. I feel a bit bad, but yeah, so like maybe 10 years ahead in some ways. Um, in terms of skilled people, it's a common struggle. Like we like over the years, I was just talking to Francesco earlier, right? In terms of how like, I've seen a shift in the mindset of hiring managers where they have started to realize that it's not just about poaching experienced people from another company, but really the importance of being forward thinking and investing in developing new talent, whether is it from like the fresh graduates or people who are looking to change industries. So with that shift of the mindset, which only happened really recently, about probably the last 1 year in itself, and that's where we have seen a growth in more highly skilled security people. Even like for our own company, is really we are quite a small and specialized company, but we have also taken part of this accelerator program where we look at getting fresh grads and then we park like a senior penetration tester together with this fresh grad, and they will just mentor them and help get them up to speed and do that knowledge transfer. So yeah, things like that does really help, but it's hard to keep up because the like with digital
Technology change
transformation
all the
all
time.
the things, yeah, the landscape is evolving, so we find that we are still always in a position where it's not enough. Like you can't find yeah, good people. We have seen like people also moving across countries. So
Hmm.
people from the UK actually have moved to Australia. I find a lot of people from Australia have to move to like Singapore and Hong Kong. So there's a
Oh,
lot of
interesting.
yeah. So it's from there that's where you get the knowledge transfer across countries as well, which is yeah, interesting thing to
And I think
notice.
what I struggle with, because I moved to 3 or 4 countries as well, um, regulation is challenging because you need to get up to speed. And if we take the example of Europe, UK has a different regulation, completely different regulation from Germany, from France, and Italy. So
That's
even
right.
even if you move slightly around, you get
Yeah, you
massive
still need
shift in
some time to get
regulation.
up to speed. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah. The
I
learning
think if you're
curve.
in risk and compliance or governance, that's your challenge. And the other value is actually to get that expertise on that specific country.
Mm, yeah. So at the end of the day, also depends on like, your ability to learn, right? And how adaptable you are. So there are certain qualities that hiring managers have learned to focus on and not
Hmm.
just on, the basic technical skills.
So
So yeah.
actually on that subject, so I think if we summarize how to address the technical gap or the skill shortage is mentoring and upskilling your grads or people that are in the industry that maybe are not identified as cyber, and maybe get clarity on what a hacker mindset is, and it's not just, oh, I break into stuff, but I question stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's to summarize your point. But on that subject,
Oh, you
maybe.
mentioned about diversity, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the last point that is very, very close to me is like, how do you address diversity? How do you get more women involved in this stuff?
Yeah, so I would
Is
think,
it? Let me ask you a question that maybe
yeah.
is a little bit different. Is it too male-driven industry? How do we make it attractive for? Is the engineering? Where are we getting it wrong? Let's put it this way.
No, I don't think it's a case where people are getting it wrong, but I believe it's really just awareness.
Mm.
So there are a lot of positive examples where I've seen, um, like, okay, so let me just give you an example. So I invited one of this, what do I call, like someone that I know. He's a like security manager of this client, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay, I know there's this event happening and it's something organized by the Australian Women in Security. So I invited him to come along. And when he came and he saw how many, like, I think the room was filled with women, he was
Mm.
quite taken aback. And he later on told me that actually it feels a bit strange, like being in a room full of women.
Talking
And
about
he
cyber.
exactly. And he felt like the tables were turned. And he said, wow, I've never thought about it, but this is how my team
My
members who
vision.
are like female would actually be feeling, because all along they have been working in, a more male dominated sort of
Mm.
environment. So it got him to start thinking, and he's a good person, right? It's just that he was not aware of like maybe certain the culture that his team had, and he started to think about how he could make it more how do I put it, more
Open.
yeah, more open and more supportive, to encourage more women to actually you
Mm.
know want to
Get
be part
involved.
of this. Yeah, exactly. So it's just really I guess getting them to start thinking. But when they are aware, I've seen a lot of cases where they have been a fantastic ally, and they have supported women vocally. They have actually given them opportunities, directed them opportunities. They saw the potential in them. And there's this statistics, I don't know if you've heard about it, but when it comes to people applying to jobs,
Mm-hmm.
apparently, like how when guys, when you look at your job descriptions and the requirements, and maybe if you meet some of it, you're like, yeah, I can still go for it, and you just apply. Because there's a lot of confidence that you guys have, right?
Yeah.
But there's some women, when they looked at it, they tend to, I think there was a stats
Question.
about like 90% of them, yeah, if they meet most of the requirements, and if they don't meet one or two,
They still
they would
question themselves.
yeah, maybe I'll wait till I'm there before I apply. So it's just a bit different in terms of the way they're wired and the way they apply to jobs. Also, the jobs descriptions are written
Mm-hmm.
sometimes by mainly men. So the languages that they write on the JD is a bit maybe more focused on the technical aspects rather than focused on maybe like the culture or on the leadership. And these are things that maybe the women look for. So these are just some examples that have been shared before.
I'm just.
Yeah, I saw some comments coming in. Just trying to read
Yeah.
through
So
that.
yeah. No, I think Ivano participated in the discussion. So we had. It's a little bit challenging talking about this topic, but I'm gonna bring it up either way. So we were just to give you an example on how challenging the view is and how different
Mm,
people in the industry see it. So I was, as I said, we were hosting the Cloud Security Alliance one, and I reached out to a number of, I reached to Jane, to a number of sponsors like Jessica Park, Chani. So people that know me, they know me very well, and they're supportive, and they know that I support cybersecurity, Women for Cyber. And I was saying my conference is to be half female, and I got some of the speaker that I talked to and say, why do you give me the spot just because I'm a female? It's like, I'm not. I'm just giving you the spot because I respect you. I think you have
mm,
something to add, and you're a female
yeah,
led. So I got that backfire on me,
right.
and then the other thing is like we got a couple where we got Magda that couldn't come unfortunately,
Oh,
and
Magda Jelly.
Yeah, she was supposed
Okay, yeah, I know her.
to open the conference, but unfortunately we couldn't find enough sponsor to sponsor her trip.
Ah, right.
And Chani had her own family issue, so we had to replace two speakers in a very short time. And we tried to involve the number of groups, and it was massive backfire. So some groups said you're cooperating with that group, so I'm not getting involved, or some other
Oh,
group is like, why are you putting so much pressure on women now? They had to join at the very last minute. It's like,
oh,
I
it
mean,
is, yeah.
Ivano has seen the whole infosec drama going on. It's been going. I tried going on. I mean, if you look at my Twitter,
Yes.
I tried going on for a week, but it's
Oh,
challenging.
right. Okay. Actually, it's not something unique to, well, countries. I have seen this happen. Um, and you're right. Like there are two extremes. So there are yeah, so basically what I'm trying to say is that at the end of the day, it's about being positive in how we go about to encourage diversity rather
Mm.
than putting people down or putting them down for doing it the wrong way or anything like that, because we look at the intentions, right? It is true that at the end of the day, people want to be recognized for their talent and for their experience, which is why they're invited to speak, not because
Yeah,
of their gender, of whether they're male or female.
but it's a
So
mix.
the
It's a
yeah,
mix. You
exactly.
had to sponsor it. But what I'm
And
saying, sorry, go ahead.
yeah. Oh no, I just wanted to say like there are cases like initially I think I've seen where people have maybe not done it wrong, but like they started out where they have lots of women on a panel
Hmm.
talking about diversity, but actually might believe that it should be a diverse panel talking about real cybersecurity issues rather than talking about diversity, because that
And
itself is, like action speaks louder than words, right? That
and
already is recognizing a diverse background and recognizing them for their value of what they can share with the people of the industry based on their experience. So I
and
think
a
that's
lot
probably a better
another
way.
point is
Mm-hmm.
we haven't seen a lot of people of color in the industry. So at least from
Yeah.
my perspective, here in US is very white male dominated industry. And
Mm-hmm.
on specific this topic, in next of July, I'm gonna speak to women in cyber forum of color. So how to get them up to speed in the industry, because I think it's something that is gonna come. And
I think it's not
uh,
just women of color. Like I think across, right? We want to see more.
yeah,
Um,
people of color in general, but I have a very good friend of mine that is one of them in
yeah.
the group, Belinda, that got me involved in that. So I try to
Oh,
be
that's
as
awesome.
supportive as possible to
Yeah.
all the gender, all the colors, all the flags.
Like everyone basically. Yeah, but that's a good point because I have a colleague and a good friend from South Africa actually, and she was sharing with me like, hey, we should have put this as part of cyber risk meetup, where we have like different panels from different countries
Hmm.
and different backgrounds and just sharing their perspective of not just challenges that they're facing in cybersecurity, but even like real challenges in that work culture and how
Mm.
if they're facing any, I don't know, maybe difficulty or discrimination or anything, but how they're going about it. So it's just creating more of that awareness as well. So that was something interesting, and was working with her to try and do something like
A multicultural, multi-country panel. That I like.
that.
Time zone wise might be challenging, so we might just find each other just available for 1 hour a day. But I think we can make it work. I think we can make it work. So I'm happy to support that as well.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure we can find like them in the same country itself. There will be lots. We just have to find them.
So so Yanis asked another question. Any recommendation for platform or website that can register all companies or profile and provide consultancy from remote? So how does actually on top of that question, how does the whole remote working from remote works in Australia? How's the market, and how are people open to it? Are employer open to it from your
Right.
perspective?
I have seen like some people from like Israel or from the UK. They've offered their services in Australia and in Asia. I
Mm-hmm.
think in Singapore, it's very it's like known as a financial hub in Southeast Asia. So they're really welcoming to people from different countries. So I think that would be a good platform to start off with. In terms of projects, I have seen, I would say they're fairly open. However, when it comes to like government projects, then they're really strict because they will look at, government clearance and all that, which might be a bit tricky to get if you're doing that from other countries. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, no, it does. And
He
another
was asking
question.
about websites as well. So maybe you can
Yeah.
check like Austrade or ICE 71, which are big in, well, Austrade is more for Australia, and ICE 71 is more for Singapore, where they look at encouraging companies they're trying to build an ecosystem. But I think you have to partner with a local like citizen in Singapore or something to do that and bring that together. So yeah, I mean, you have more questions, you can chat with me later on.
Yeah, no, if you can share the website with me, I'll make sure they are in the description, and so that they're available for everybody, and I'll ping them around also to the community. And there is another question: how much awareness recognition there is in Australia regarding CREST, the
Oh
certification,
yeah,
the pen
definitely.
testing?
Yeah.
So
So there is OSCP. That's probably seen as like the first step, and then there's CREST, like CCT,
okay.
CRT. So that's really popular and very recognized.
Oh, that's nice. And then, of
Is that the
course,
same in the UK?
yeah, no, they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. They're pretty well recognized. Actually, yeah, Ivano asked and has to ask, do you know what's your stance on the debacle about Tory Hunt?
Troy Hunt.
Yeah, the whole story about have I been pawned, getting sold. What's your view
Okay,
on
ask
it?
whether did I follow it? I'm not sure if I got the latest update. So, and I think he wanted to add a couple of things. So, yeah, if I know, you can go ahead and add a couple of things.
Yeah, no, I
If you're
think
on mute.
Sorry to interrupt. I'll leave a couple of seconds to edit my intervention out. Troy Hunt was criticized because he didn't want to be hated from the people who didn't like diversity and integration in InfoSec, and the diversity group he would have tried to help. So in a Twitter post, basically said something like, "It's always about gender. There are always things that blow up. So I don't want to partake in this debate, and instead I'm going to spend time with my daughter, and I will teach her how to program." And of course, the very diverse people who happens to be also the more hateful, for some reason, because everybody likes to be unhappy on the internet, they start criticizing because he's a man, he's a white man, he's privileged, he's in a position where he could help other, but hey, fuck it, he doesn't want to step into the debate, and he has an obligation of stepping into the debate because he's in a position where he
I
could
don't
help.
think he is. I think he made, from my perspective, he made a good stance. Like, instead of talking about stuff, because I've seen a lot of talking about diversity, and from my perspective, I don't want to talk about stuff. I just want to do stuff. And even if you do just, I mean, you're a single individual. Even if you do a small contribution, that's going to add something to the cause. If you just talk about stuff, then you're spending most of the time talking about stuff. I'd rather spend time doing stuff. And I think his position it was good. It's like, I'm going to teach my daughter how to code, and that's it. That's my stand on it.
Yeah,
That was a statement in itself.
I do agree, but see, since people want to want to hate on other people for some reason, I saw a number of Twitter posts where, let's say, women and feminists and diverse groups in general, they were basically saying, "Oh, there are people in this industry, and they prefer to focus on the next generation without thinking about they need to do more.
Let me
But
say something.
without including him in the tweets. So it's like they were talking on his back for not doing enough. So whatever you do, you're wrong. That's the point.
That's Twitter 101. But if I can quote a good historical figure that I love, Machiavelli, regardless if somebody talks better or worse than you, it's still good marketing. They still talk about you. So there is some war flame and infosec drama that actually makes some more advertising. And I can quote 2 or 3 cases where people got like massive followership of hater and lovers, but honestly, it's like I like his stand, and I think he did a good move, and he's quite popular. I mean, he came and he won, I think, the SC Awards here in UK. So he came around, and I couldn't meet him because I was like too busy on work stuff. But I
Yeah,
think
I
he did
feel
good. I would say he did good. That's all I'm saying. Shamane, what's your view on it?
So my perspective is that at the end of the day, everyone will have, they're entitled to their own opinion. So it's a shame if there's a lot of hate going on because, at the end of the day, we should be focusing on something like empowering people and yes, not just on the next generation, but also educating the current generation and the generation before previously. So at the end of the day, like, yes, we need to make our stance and be clear about maybe what's our perspective and our view. We can do that. But if it's just getting lost in all the hate, then the next step to do is set the example and make a difference in your own actions. And how you do it is how you interpret it, accordingly. So maybe for him, it's to focus on his daughter and stuff. But for the rest of us, it could be, different initiatives that we want to do to help change, raise more awareness in a positive way. So yeah, that's my take on that.
Cool. Any other question from the floor? Ivano, Yanis.
I would say every time I read books or I read blog posts about how to make it into InfoSec, there is always one piece missing, which is you need to find a hiring manager who is not a complete tool. So who understands. So let me rephrase it in case you want to edit it. One of the things that I always, sorry, when I read books and when I read blogs about how to break into information security, there is always one piece missing, which is that you need to find a hiring manager who wants to give you a chance.
Yeah.
So somebody who can understand that people who like information security and cybersecurity are people who like to learn every single day. So if you are applying for a job and they need you to learn a specific antivirus, for instance, and this tool takes 40 minutes to learn, it is not uncommon to find a hiring manager that is going to say, oh no, you don't know this tool, so I cannot hire you. So we need to
I've
find
seen quite a lot of that. I agree. Yeah.
we need to find hiring managers who actually are not afraid of taking a risk and hire you because you can actually grow and do much more. But
I think
I don't see
I
this in
think
books. I don't see this in blog posts.
no, and maybe I'll write something about it because one of the first book that I'm gonna write is actually how to break into InfoSec and then how to go to the diverse part. And people need to understand that fundamentally, when we try to push and say people at the very beginning of their career, they're in InfoSec. I started my career in InfoSec, but I started from network, then operating system, and so on. So I grew my stack of knowledge, and then I jump into InfoSec because we keep on forgetting in InfoSec it's just doing things right. That's fundamentally it. It's not just hacking. It's just knowing how to do things right and then how to break it. That's the second element of it. And from a hiring manager perspective, I think it's always challenging to balance the view of I have a team and I have experts in my team, and then I have grads, and then I need to balance that act. So I need people, but I agree with you partially, Ivano, that you need more courage around the industry, especially from hiring manager to relate to that, to relate to the fact that it's a never-changing industry. So you can't hire people that actually know everything. Otherwise, you're gonna try to find the unicorn.
Yeah.
Shamane?
Yeah, Totally agree with you both. I've seen a lot in my days where it's a bit frustrating, like talking to them because they want ready-made people. They want people who tick all of their boxes, and a lot of times they don't. You don't really have an exact understanding of what you really need, right? They think they need this, but and then they're looking for this sort of people, but they don't exist, or they're not actually the right fit for what they really need. So, and I've seen so many times where some of the brightest people are the
Mm-hmm.
ones that are the most hungry, the ones that could have been the least experienced, but they are just very driven, and they are great in thinking in a very creative way. So and they are quite different in their perspective and things like that. And this ends up to be one of the best hires for the team. So in this industry, it's about really being open to know that you can get really good people from all sorts of background. And as you said, being able to take that risk, but also seeing that potential and saying, yes, you're going to help them get to that level. So we do need more people to start changing their mindset, and I guess as we keep speaking about it, we keep spreading awareness in this area. um,
Hopefully.
yeah, but I've
So,
seen also hiring managers just sharing this with each other, and they've started come around because they've seen the benefits of it themselves.
so actually on that subject, spinning up a panel with Ben and InfoSec people here, recruitment, that is actually getting better into knowing InfoSec, and we're just gonna have some of this discussion around why is it so challenging to recruit for this industry, because partially also
Mhm.
the hiring manager have incredibly high expectation for incredibly low salary, and they don't extend the mindset on other stuff. So it needs to be addressed, but it's also maybe conference, maybe forum. I don't have a solution for that. So maybe it's just a cultural shift. It's just a cultural change, and it's going to take time. So in the interest of time, we need to wrap up. So Shamane, can I ask to leave us with a positive message and three key things that you got from your CISO interview? So three things that not shocked you, but left you with a mark, or left an impression on you on your interview, on your books.
Oh wow, that's a big question. You threw in a lot of questions in that one question.
Two questions. One positive message for the industry, and um, maybe one big thing that shocked you while you talked to a CISO. One thing that left an impression on you while having your interviews for the book.
Okay. So maybe one positive message is that I would say we are all better together. So, I really see the importance of community and everyone just collaborating together. Because I myself am a product of that, where I've
Mm,
seen like really experienced CISOs willing to spend time. When I was just fresh years ago into the industry, they're willing to spend some time with me and just imparting knowledge and just imparting their experience. And as a result of that, I'm now in a position where I'm able to share that and pass that on to people in my current sphere of influence. So yeah, I'm a big believer of like mentorship. If
mm,
we seek out mentors actively, yeah, as a whole we are better together. So that would be my positive message.
great.
And yeah, in terms of well, a lot of things that I've spoken to the CISO, I mean, they have shared a lot of interesting stories. So I even had a section in the book, and the title is like, "You did what?" So because that was
I love
pretty
that.
interesting. Yeah, like learning from their mistakes made, and or like silly things that they see in an industry, and it's funny. But trying to think of like maybe one key thing that might be helpful to people would be I think one thing that stood out when I'm speaking to all of them is that they have somehow emphasized that it is important for them to learn how to master the art of storytelling when they're
Mm,
like talking to the stakeholders, or even just articulating their message to people who have no knowledge of security, or just to the general employees, across the different teams and divisions. So like it can be a very powerful tool if you learn how to master that, and people buy into the stories. So yeah, like I guess take time to think about how you can um,
Develop the
communicate your
storytelling.
message in a creative way. Yeah, and that's something that has been really effective, and it's been used really well by CISOs across industries. And I've spent quite a bit of time to put all their stories together as well. But maybe that will be another time.
Or another
Yeah.
book. You can actually write another book just on season stories.
Oh yeah, I've put quite a few of it in the first book already. So yeah, maybe the next one. Yeah. But
Fair enough. All right, we need to wrap up. Unfortunately, I have tons of other questions, but maybe we do another session of this. I'd love this. Thank you very much, Shamane, and thank you
well,
everybody
thank you.
for
Yeah, thank you
participating.
everyone else for your questions and all really, really good. And yeah, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, Shamane. Have a lovely day.
Yeah, you too. Well, it's my evening. You have a lovely day.
That's the problem with time zones.
I know, but it's my weekend coming up, so I'm looking forward to that.
All
All right,
right,
you
great
enjoy
stuff.
your Cheers,
Take
guys.
care, Shamane.
Okay,
Bye,
goodbye.
everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.
So that's all for this episode. Thank you for Shamane. I remind that IC Square and CSA are partnering up for this Mentoring Monday call. Come and join the discussion over the next call. Hope you enjoyed.